Hey guys, and welcome to our very first podcast of all time. Seriously, one of these days we're going to change ourselves to just we do stuff rather than we do game stuff. Even though today we're talking about a topic related to games.
Look, man, eventually we do cooking stuff, we do DIY stuff, we do home renovation stuff.
But the thing is that
we have no skills in any of those. But
not only do we not have any skills in that, but you were also like, hey, let's do a LeBlanc Curry from Persona 5. So it's immediately back to the game topic right there.
We're nerds.
Yeah, but come on. But yeah, guys, today we're going to talk about looter shooters. So I don't know if you guys know what looter shooters are, but we'll just give you a brief synopsis. It's basically games like Destiny, you may have heard of it, Division.
May have heard of that one.
A little bit lesser known ones would probably be like, I don't know, Borderlands,
Shit games.
Yeah. And, some people would argue that Borderlands is a little bit different than a looter shooter, but it's kind of not. It's the same thing. You run around, shoot things, get loot. You can go back, do the same shit over and over again. And
I mean, the main concept of a looter shooter is to shoot things and loot things.
Yeah.
Over and over again. It's what you do in Borderlands.
So I wonder, whenever you think of a looter shooter, is it just randomized loot every time? Like, is that like...
Well, like Destiny doesn't do randomized loot all the time. Their rolls are random, but the guns you get usually aren't.
Yeah, but you still get randomized loot. You'll get you'll know that you've got like, oh, I've got a plethora of like 5-6 different guns that I can possibly get out of this as a drop. That being said, I don't know what rolls I'll get on it.
You have no idea.
Yeah, and that's what makes it good. I mean, I've seen some rolls on guns for Destiny be so ridiculously just crap that you'll be like, oh, shoot the gun, and you shoot like 3-4 bullets, and you gotta reload, and your character's like reloading super slow. It's like he'll pull the thing out, he'll just slowly put the cylinder in, like his life's not in danger, and then
he's not being shot at constantly by giant aliens.
Yeah, and then he's like click, click, bang, bang. And it's like the worst gun ever. And then you see people that literally just have guns.
The same gun.
Yeah, the same gun that just reloads in a quarter millisecond. Like just, okay, I'm ready to shoot again. And I'm like, good Lord. What is your dude on? Like, some drugs?
Drugs, speed. But yeah, like even a game like Remnant from the Ashes, which is kind of like a Souls game with guns, is technically a looter shooter because...
You say Souls, like Dark Souls?
Dark Souls, yeah. Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Demon Souls.
Well, Dark Souls could... I mean, I don't know. The Dark Souls could be considered a looter shooter.
Well, you don't shoot, so...
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of that same realm.
Looter slasher.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound as good as looter shooter, though.
No. So, like Remnant, you fight stuff constantly, and once you finish a level or a boss, you get a chest, and then it's got random guns you can pick up and random perks. So I guess that counts as a looter shooter. It's just way harder than any other looter shooter you fucking play, though. It's awful.
I mean,
awfully great.
Awfully great. Say. I don't know. Dark Souls is probably the only game that I would say that I'm not interested in playing. I actually know that and Dead Space 2. Yeah.
You just have a personal beef about Dead Space 2.
Look, man. I've never wanted to break a controller more than I've ever done playing the hardest difficulty of Dead Space 2. You get like 4 saves for the entire game. And I knew what 4 places I wanted it at.
The games are like 10 hours long.
I think it was like 3 saves, actually. You get 3 saves and a checkpoint, technically, because when you switch over to the next disc,
checkpoint.
It checkpoints you so you don't get thrown back. So I ended up saving in 3 different places. The thing that killed me, no enemy could touch me. I built my character around keeping enemies away from me and dying at every given opportunity. And the freaking eye poke machine, it just got me. It just tore me to pieces. And I just remember staring. I was like, okay, I got this. I got the needle all the way down to his eye, right?
Right before you do it.
Yeah, and you're trying to get it into his iris. And then he's constantly just frantic, looking in other directions, right? And if you do it anywhere else, the machine will kill him.
For some reason.
For whatever reason.
It just, it goes in and like swirls around it.
Yeah, if it just happens to get anything but the pupil, which is ridiculous. But anyways, it gets all the way to the eye, and I'm like, okay, if I press the X button, or the A button, excuse me, because I'm playing on Xbox. If I press the A button one more time, it'll do whatever it's going to do. I was like, I got to do this right, so I'll wait a good few seconds.
It's in the hands of the gods at that point.
Yeah, I was like, I just have to give it a few seconds. I'll wait. So I'm waiting for about 3 seconds. I built up confidence in my mind to do it. And he hadn't moved his eye for a good period of time. I hit the A button. Boom. He just shoots his eye across, and it kills him. And I just stared at the screen for like maybe a good solid 60 seconds, maybe a good minute. And I was just like, mother, and I just started going off. I was talking to people in a party and everything. I tossed the controller while the headset was still on me. Dude, that of course made me even more mad. Pissed me off.
Because it pulled you.
Yeah, it just pulled my whole head. And I was like, you fucking piece of shit. I grabbed the controller trying to break it. Man, I'm going to tell you right now, Xbox 360 controllers made out of fucking recycled Nokias. They do not die.
I mean, I've tried to bend one, grab the handles and push it inward. You gotta put some muscle into it, dude, man.
I threw that controller right at the wall, and the thing literally just bounced off the wall and actually dented my wall. I had to get plaster and fix it. It damaged the wall, but scratched my controller. I was like, man. So in short, if you ever need bulletproof cars, make it out of Xbox 360 controllers. Or, recycled Nokias, one of the two.
Right. Which apparently in your eyes, that's what they're made of. For Nokias.
It set me back 7 hours, and I was like, I'm done. I'll never do this again. I'll never play this game again. And to this day,
never finished it?
No. I beat it. I beat it before on an easier difficulty.
But you didn't finish on the hardest.
Yeah.
And you don't have that achievement.
No, never. I'll never have it. To this day, I've never, ever, ever played it. I own the game right now. I could pop it in right now. I won't.
Out of principle.
I will never play that game again. I will die. You could hold a gun to my head and say, do it or I shoot. You might as well shoot, dude, because I ain't playing this game.
I ain't doing it again, man.
It's not happening.
But yeah, that's a frustration with Remnant from the Ashes.
Completely.
Get back on topic here.
Yeah. Completely askewed.
But yeah, looter shooters.
Yeah. I mean, look. The whole reason I went on that tangent in the first place was think about it. When you play
deep-seated trauma you have.
Yeah, I do. But whenever you play games like Destiny, Borderlands, Payday 2, stuff like that, you have those looter shooter type games, and they're just really fun. Mm-hmm. A lot of people wonder, why people get into games like that when it's so randomized. It's not like it's in a lot of these games are RPGs, but they're not RPGs in the same sense of older
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy and stuff where it's predetermined loot. You know what you're going to get.
There's small chances the enemy might drop a potion, not a Phoenix down.
Yeah, something like that. But it's never you kill this enemy and oh, wow, he just happened to drop a really OP weapon that that doesn't happen. It's not scripted for that. And I think that's why looter shooters are so good, because you could literally be a complete crap player at a game. And you could turn around and just loot a gun off of something that is just OP and you are really good because of it.
Yeah, it's like in Destiny 1, we played collectively, I think we probably put maybe a month, solid hours, a month into that game. Don't know why.
I put, I think, 2,000 hours into Destiny 1.
Yeah, I think my time between the two consoles was about 3 weeks or so, maybe 2.5. Objectively, that game wasn't good, right? The story, crap, wasn't really there. Yeah. The gameplay.
I could tell you a story. I could tell you a story. Tell me the story, speaker. No.
I can tell you a story. All right, tell me. Not this time. Not right now.
Yeah, the assumption is that the story is about the dead Guardians who died before you. It's okay, well, I played beta. What the alpha players?
I was the beta player. I was the Guardian.
Yeah, I was one of those Guardians that you're talking about died in the Great War. And then it's oh, okay, well, those were the alpha players we were talking about. Okay, well, I know people that played the alpha. Congratulations. Who's it before that? The beta testers.
Well, at least now with Destiny 2,
at least considered the beta testers. Do they owe me money?
Yeah, they owe us $100.
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm a beta tester, and I feel like people get paid.
They owe me a Gallowhorn in Destiny 2.
God, screw that Gallowhorn. I want Red Death.
And but yeah, in Destiny, story was crap. Wasn't there. The gameplay, look at it now, is super stiff.
Oh yeah,
super stiff. The abilities, shit, trash.
No.
Hammers was on. Okay.
Ultimate. Dude, I'm telling you right now, people had the ultimate ability with Titans back then, which was infinite shoulder charges.
Oh, yeah.
I could shoulder charge left, up, right, down, and center and just kill everything. And it doesn't matter.
Unless you hit a rock.
Unless I hit a rock. But it doesn't really even matter then, because then I turn around and just beat you to death, because tank rolls feel like it actually played more of of an aspect back then.
Yeah, now it's just a name. But yeah, that game objectively is not good. But we played it so much, and I don't understand why.
I think it's just because back then looter shooters weren't as common. Yeah, I think
I think Borderlands was the only big looter shooter out there.
But it also wasn't multiplayer. I think that's what it was multiplayer, but
I think it was couch co-op.
Yeah, not that it was couch co-op. You could play with your friends away from, they could be at their house playing the game with you and stuff like that. But the way it did it was, at least in Borderlands 1, was you would jump in and you would play from that person's story. The problem with that is that whenever I jumped into a higher levels characters like area,
all that story.
It did all that story for me. But the problem was that it gave me all these quests I had to go back and do at my old place. So I was completely lost on what I was doing. It screwed up my whole gameplay.
Yeah, I had that issue with Borderlands too. I happened to try to play multiplayer with somebody, just like see if it still worked, and I happened to jump in somebody in game, and I got everything, like all the quests. I'm like, I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it just ends up screwing it all up for you, and then you just lose track of where you are. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, it had multiplayer, but not good multiplayer. Versus like Destiny, where that is the whole thing. It's literally
just multiplayer.
Yeah, it's just built around multiplayer. I mean, you could argue the same thing for like The Division. The Division's the same thing. Get on, play with your friends, jump out there, do these dungeon quote unquote areas, and then get out there and kill things and get loot that way.
Yeah, there's, I think it was New York City, right, where a Division takes place, and you could kind of walk around New York City with your buddies and do like patrol missions or whatever and get more gear. And I think, if I remember, that was the first game that they called a Destiny killer, because Destiny was just no one was playing anything else but Destiny at the time. No one else played.
There really wasn't another game like it. Like, you had games like Call of Duty, sure, where you could get on and play mindless like back-to-back games like that. Like Modern Warfare 2, your whole thing was you got on, you played games to have fun. But the biggest thing you did was you had like prestiging and stuff. Versus like with Destiny, you could actually customize your character. You could put on gear that made you look different from other people. You could get out there, show off things you've done. Do a bunch of different tactics and weapons and stuff like that had different roles and so on. So it made you feel like your character was your own. Versus like in Modern Warfare, you would just shoot, like Modern Warfare 2 back in the day, you would just shoot a bunch of people in a certain way, and then you would get a commendation. That commendation would get you a skin. And then, oh, cool, I got this gold skin on this gun. Oh, man, I'm super great.
Now when somebody sees me, they're going to know I'm a sweaty.
Yeah, I'm a sweaty. I literally walk around, nothing, eating, shitting, and fucking pissing this game.
I mean, all Prestige did was give you, a star or something on your emblem. That was it.
Prestiging would give you, I think back in Modern Warfare 2, it was like a star, yeah.
Yeah, so, and like, there's nothing like that in Destiny. Like, prestiging isn't a thing in that game. That game is literally like, you're going to keep playing this game, the same 15 missions, the same 5 strikes, the same 3 raids, and you're going to get the weapons you want to get. Playing Destiny 2 now, because I played Destiny 2 when it first came out, and I had issues with how it was so similar to Destiny 1 where there was no substance whatsoever. That's a topic for another I guess, show or podcast where we talk about the fall of Destiny 2 and then the rise again, because it is a totally different game than it was in base D2. But yeah,
I think we should move away from talking about Destiny in general, because I mean this is obviously from our point of view because we've played a lot of Destiny.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think about other games that kind of explore the looter shooter aspect, Destiny's not the only game that does it.
Yeah.
Like Borderlands, for instance, like we were talking about a minute ago.
Now our friend Panda played a lot of Borderlands. Loved that shit. I never got into it.
I actually own all 3 games. Mm-hmm. I actually own all 4 games technically, because it's got the prequel series.
You own the 3rd one?
Yeah. I got Borderlands 3 over there, right there in that stack of games.
Really?
Yeah, but if you want to borrow it, I'll let you borrow it. I mean, Borderlands 3 is okay, but the problem, I actually really liked Borderlands 1.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 is about as different from each other as like Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 is. Where
see, I started with Borderlands 2, so I never played 1.
Yeah, so 1 apparently plays differently than 2, and something about 2, like it's almost like how Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 are different, and you can feel the difference, but you really can't pinpoint what
you won't notice the difference if you play them in succession. But if you play Destiny and then go back to Destiny 1, you're like, oh, what is this shit? This is trash,
dude. I still feel the difference. You gotta think, I played Destiny 1 so much that I know what it felt like, and I know when I jumped into Destiny 2 when we first played, it wasn't as
I remember the biggest thing for Destiny 2. Here we go, back to Destiny.
Yeah, no, I started thinking that.
So, quick tangent. But the first thing I know about Destiny, I think all of us did, was the ledge grab mechanic, where if you don't make a jump just right in Destiny 1, you just fall. If your feet did not touch the edge, you died.
That was arguably the worst part of the game, because you would just like be flying against an area where you're just like, lift your leg just a little bit, lift it up just a little bit, you'll land. And he's like just Supermaning against the wall.
He can't grab the ledge. He can't like put his hands down.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
But I remember in Destiny 2, they make you do it. They show, hey, you can do a ledge grab now. And I remember like, put my drone on. This is fucking mind blowing. This is fucking crazy.
And you know how many times it's probably saved me for real, like without even thinking about it, because it's second nature now in the game.
If you jump and you hit like your mid chest, you'll just pick yourself up.
Yep. I mean, that's awesome. Especially considering me, where I run those Titan boots, where I get to just fly around forever.
Yeah.
And then, like, I love those boots. You barely touch anything, and you just, boom, I'm back to flying again, and I'm just fucking...
You're spacewalking, basically.
Just running forever. But, I mean, like, well, let's go to Borderlands, for instance, right? So, like, in Borderlands, the looter-shooter aspect's actually different than that. Of course, we were talking about Destiny. Destiny's normal formula is you play it, you get out there, you fight, they drop engrams, you grab the engrams.
You might get something in the mission.
Yeah, and you might get something at the end of the mission, and that's how you get your gear. And you move on. Granted, there's some, like, guaranteed roles you'll get through quests or whatever, but, like, in Borderlands, it's the same thing. But it's a little bit... It feels different in a way, too.
I mean, you'll shoot somebody that, like, pop a gun out. Like, there's it's fly out of the body.
I mean, that's the same thing with engrams. They just shoot right out of your body.
Yeah, but this one, like, the gun comes out.
Yeah, well, they let go of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just different things about Borderlands and Destiny. They just feel completely different. I mean, that could be the fact that you're playing. I mean, and people will be like, oh, well, one's a sci-fi spacefaring game. And I'm like, technically, Borderlands is too. It just takes place on the planet Pandora.
Yeah, it's still a sci-fi game, for sure.
I'm like, it's literally like we moved away from, I think they moved away from Earth and they ended up on Pandora at some point. I'm not sure if they're at the home.
They're looking for vaults or...
Yeah, looking for vaults.
Like vault hunters.
Yeah, deceased set of people or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a sci-fi game. It's still a futuristic... sciencey game.
I think the issue...
Granted, Borderlands is a futuristic sci-fi game, but kind of like a post-apocalyptic version where everything's kind of like run down and like really shitty, like Mad Max style stuff.
You have raiders everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it like this too. Borderlands is multiplayer, but it's like pseudo multiplayer where you could tell that multiplayer was an afterthought. It wasn't like that was the focal point.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. I didn't really care for it. Like,
I can say, at least with Borderlands, it had a very focused story. You had a story you were going to do.
Well, that's the thing, is you could tell it was like a single player game that just so happens to have multiplayer. That's what it looked. It kind of feels like if you had Skyrim and then they made it multiplayer, you'd be like, okay, that definitely wasn't what it was for. But
didn't they try that?
No, I think there was some modders out there that managed to create a mod that lets that happen where you can play like that. But it just breaks the value of the game because your characters eventually becomes really OP.
Yeah.
Like, having two of you, come on now.
2 full short dolls. Yeah. But, yeah, so...
Payday 2 actually does it really well in a different aspect where...
You're bank robbers.
You're bank robbers. You earn, like, packages after you win or do whatever you're going to do, and money, and you could buy gear and certain things. And what I thought was cool was that there was actually an evolution to it. So, like... you know, if let's say I wanted to be like a tank buster character, right? You would just spec your character basically to be that tank buster. Mm-hmm. Well, when you go in, there's actual like armor and abilities and stuff like that you can buy for your character as you go along, but you do get randomized loot rolls and customizations and stuff. So it's technically a looter shooter, but not in the way of like enemies dying and they drop gear.
Yeah, I didn't play a lot of Payday 2. I got that game after all the hype died down, or after all my friends stopped playing it. I never really got to play. I played maybe like 5 games. So
wait, you have Payday 2?
I've had Payday 2 since like a long time ago.
So we're playing Payday 2.
I mean, yes. I mean, I'm down to play Payday 2. I never really get to play it. I never get to experience Payday.
We can absolutely 100% play Payday.
Get Chewy on there. You're good as gold.
Oh, dude, straight up. I mean, I actually own a copy of Payday 2.
Yeah, I do own a physical copy of that game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I have a physical copy and a digital copy.
Pop that sumbitch in.
You know, Chewy could be like, "Oh yeah, I don't have the game." Cool, whatever. Here you go, buddy. Here's my physical copy. We'll play it digitally.
Yeah, and fuck, Panda's got an Xbox too. Make him play too.
I think it actually is only 4 players. I think it is a 4 player. We would have a whole team.
Perfect for our friend group. So I guess Payday 2 is a looter shooter. Technically. Yeah, it just does like an evolutionary, like buy your gear kind of thing after a while. I think there is a way that you get randomized gear and stuff, so that's kind of a thing. And you know, then there's games that like really take a lot of that stuff to the extreme, which is like Warframe. That free to play game? Man. Warframe is weird. Like, weird. It is like sci-fi to the max. So, what I like about Warframe is the fact that you have like a customizable base. Yeah, the base is customizable. Your character, heavily customizable. Yeah, you can actually give your characters different like warframes to work with. Did we play Warframe a lot together? I think it may have been me and Chewy. It may have been you and him because I mainly played on PlayStation actually, which is ironic because I don't play anything really on PlayStation. Yeah, I mean, well, it's on PlayStation. nothing.
Well, I got a lot of, we got a lot of friends that actually have PlayStation over Xbox, and I played Warframe with Matt and a couple other people and stuff, and it was really fun there. And I tried to come back here and play it, and I didn't have a lot of people that played it. I realized that game is really fun with people.
Yeah, I think so. I was playing with Chewy, and what I learned really quick is that game is heavy on the pay to win. Heavy on it.
Yeah, and that's because it's a free game. You can tell that, and
all the cool shit you want, you can get without paying anything. But you are going to spend a fuck ton of time on that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's really sad about it. And they vault a lot of, Warframe. So if you have a certain one you're after, you have to hurry up and get all this stuff done, because if you don't, they'll vault them, and then you got to wait.
Or you spend $50 on a fucking Warframe.
I didn't know they were that expensive.
Dude, they are fucking crazy expensive. Like our buddy Chewy, I think he may have bought one, but he played us that much, he just able to just make the shit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just can't. I can't possibly spend money on these games.
And Warframe, it's been around for so long. There's just so much shit to do that you just feel overwhelmed. Yeah, it's not a game you could just jump into and start playing now, because there's no way, because you're gonna be so fucking lost.
That's kind of how I felt about Destiny too for a while. Was when I tried to jump back into that, it just you're just lost. You really don't know. But I mean, that was the same thing with me in Warframe. I started playing real late into the game, and Warframe did the same thing. It's a looter shooter kind of thing. You run around, you kill things, you get different types of guns.
That one is whatever. The premier looter. That is the ideal looter shooter, though. That's just it was built around that mechanic of you kill things, you get things. You kill things, you get more things.
I mean, so far, I would say that Destiny and Destiny 2 were built around the same aspect too. So, yeah. I mean, it's just a different way they execute it in Warframe. But I think Warframe has a lot more customizable stuff. That's what I think is really good. A lot of people that play these pseudo MMOs really do like the fact that they can, change, can make themselves different. Because I remember D1, right? Again, we're talking a lot about Destiny, but that's because we played a lot of Destiny.
Play it. Too much Destiny. Yeah. Someone would argue.
But in D1, I played the absolute crap out of it when it first came out. Mm-hmm. So I got to the end of the game, and when you played at the end of the game of D1, back when Vault of Glass was the only raid.
Yep, I remember that.
The only way you could be max level back then was for you to wear all of the raid gear.
Yeah.
So, that was what everybody did. So you would walk around the tower, and it would just be raid gear as far as the eye could see. Everybody was wearing it because, you had to have it.
You were the strongest you can be.
Right. Me, I wasn't like that. Actually, the only piece of the Vault Glass that I actually liked of that armor set was just the boots. I wore the boots, and I didn't wear anything else.
Yeah, I don't think I had a full set, but I didn't wear it because I liked another set. Because I had a cloak that I liked more, and that wasn't the raid cloak. You had to have the raid cloak or whatever.
Actually, no. Back then, you could have wore any asset you wanted like that, like cloaks and stuff, because they didn't count into your power level. It didn't have a light level back then.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody had the full set of gear, and I had that gear because the cloak was solid, bright snow white and bright gold, so it didn't look very well. So I would change my outfit to match my cloak because that was the main focal point of my character.
Yeah,
was a cape.
If you remember me, I used to wear a blue. It was a rare butt cape that was all tore up and bloody and stuff, which I thought was cool looking. But I wore those boots, and I wore a bunch of bladed armor that had blades all over my armor and stuff like that. That was really cool looking. And I wore the Helm of Inmost Light because I loved playing Striker Titan and being able to just use what is called Thunder Crash now as just
Superman.
Yes,
Superman punches.
The fucking John Cena, just kind of come straight at him, and it was really fun. But that's what I'm saying. In D1 back then, it was really everyone looked the same. There was no real customizable stuff. The only thing you could customize was some people may have different looking ships, which there wasn't a lot of them. You had a couple of different looking sparrows, but even then they were
the same, different colors.
Yeah, they were just different schemed in color. And then you had the ship and your cape basically.
Yeah,
or your wand, I guess.
I mean, that's what I said. That was I think Destiny 1 was probably the first real big looter shooter, and I think every other one after that really picked up on the fact people want to look different. Cool. So I mean, Division does the same thing. Warframe heavily does that. Payday, I guess the different masks, right? You have different masks and shit. You can wear.
Yeah, you get different masks and stuff.
Different masks and whatever. Remnant from the Ashes. It's a single player game, so you look the same. You pick different armor, but whatever. That's not a multiplayer game.
Remnant from the Ashes was single player. I remember playing a little bit of that. I thought it was multiplayer.
No, it's a single player game. You can play with other people, but it's mainly a single player game.
So it's like Borderlands, basically, in that aspect, where it's a single player game, but it has multiplayer capability.
Yeah, like Borderlands, there isn't a lot of customization. I don't think you can customize your character at all, like how they look.
No, not really. You can change like hairstyles and stuff on certain characters, and like change around some of that stuff. Yeah. I know that, like, what was his name, Craig, the Psycho. I know that you can give him like different hairstyles and stuff. I don't know if you can do that with every character, because I usually play as just him or the little Gunzerker dude.
Yeah.
But I stopped playing with him after, because I really liked Berserker from the first game. Berserker was just literally like a 7-foot tall monster that walked around, and his ultimate was heal himself and just punch things. And like, I had an explode mod on mine, so he would just punch, boom, and they would just blow up.
Yeah, I remember because he shows up in Borderlands 2, and he's like he's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, he's a crazy dude. And I used to use it to cheese. Like, I would get my special and then just hide in a corner if I was getting my ass whooped and just crack it and heal. And he would just heal himself, and I'm just like, oh, thank God. Heal, jump out, and just jump back in the corner, do it again.
Yeah, the Gunzerker, all he did was he pulled out a second gun.
Yeah, he would pull out like a gun, and then he would just go on a tirade shooting everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting, but, you know, the Psycho was a lot more interesting because you could, like, heal a little bit, and you could throw
your axe
like a tomahawk and just hit people with it. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. I have to sit down and actually play that. And then you got stuff that actually introduced really interesting things, like The Division, where they introduced Dark Zone.
See, that was how you got that was your end game stuff. Was the Dark Zone, and that shit was hard as fuck.
Yeah, like you would start to call in that helicopter, and you would just get swarmed by players and NPCs. It was very,
NPCs
very difficult.
were high level, and then the players would come in and stomp you.
Yeah, so you would get attacked on two fronts and had to defend it while you get your gear out. Most of the time, you would die because the firefight. Yeah, the firefight wouldn't end even if it got away.
Yeah,
but. You know,
you usually die once it's in the helicopter, you die after that. Yeah. Very seldomly do you ever just not die from that.
Yep. And that's what I'm getting at, is that, like, you've got all this stuff that each game started to do really, really well. Mm-hmm. And every game has kind of touched on that a little bit more and more and upgraded their own formula. I know that there's a game that's coming out pretty soon. It's called, like, Outlands.
Outriders comes out on April 1st.
Outriders, so tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, and actually, like, an hour and a half.
Yeah, which I think I was hearing something about they're going to go put it on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's going to be day one Game Pass. It's developed by the people who made Bulletstorm, which was like a indie hit, like a cult classic on the PS3.
It was also on, I think it was on Xbox 360 as well.
They ported it to Xbox later on.
Yeah, it's actually an offshoot of the Gears of War series.
Yeah, there are people who made the game were made, I think, 1 and 2. Or 3 and 4, 2 and 3, something like that. They made some of the games and they kind of left and like, we want to make our own games, cool, whatever. So in the trailer I saw, they did the cover mechanics and it looks just like Gears of War. So it's going to be good. At least that mechanic will be good.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like that. I remember actually I couldn't remember the name for it. That's why I said like Outlands or something like that.
That's another game.
Yeah, just some other game. It might be another game.
Yeah, Outlands is another game.
Is it? I actually don't know what is it about.
I have no idea, but I know it's on Game Pass.
Oh, okay, then I'll check it out. But yeah, like, I mean, this game's gonna be interesting because, like, it seemed. I watched the trailer for it earlier, and it actually did a lot of stuff really well, which I thought was really interesting because it did what I was talking about earlier, where people want customization, right? And they really took that above and beyond. They kind of followed like the Final Fantasy X and X-2 system, where like you get to upgrade your characters like fighting.
Oh, the grid. Yeah. There's like a big ass grid, and there's 4 different characters or different, I guess, styles of gameplay classes.
Yeah. Which I think is awesome. Not necessarily that there's different classes that happens all the time. I just like the grid because if you really take the time to look at your character and build him the way you want to build him,
you could absolutely break the game.
You could probably break the game with that stuff because a lot of that's not going to be able to be accounted for. Now, is that fun? Of course. Is it going to be fun when you go
fun for me?
Yeah, when you go out and stomp somebody, yeah, it's probably not going to be fun for them.
Or I don't think they've ever announced if it's going to be any PvP, which I would be totally fine with. I don't really care for PvP.
It'll probably incorporate some sort of Dark Zone aspect that'll probably be your PvP.
Yeah, because they have like a mobile fortress thing that you can like heavily customize.
Unless they follow Fallout 76's idea where it's literally just everywhere you go, you could be under attack at any moment. That being said, Fallout 76, when they first advertised that game, they were like, oh, Fallout 76, if you go out here, you randomly come across somebody, which is going to be, it's not going to be that many people on the server, which they try to make it out like there was going to be like 8 or 9 people per server, and there's a lot more than that to play.
The server host like what 36, 42, something like that.
Yeah, something big, but like, and then that's fine. But what they did is they've slowly made it better over time because like when I first started playing the game, you just get fucked. Like you would just come out and some dude who's just no life the game would just find you and just kick your ass because he had nothing to do.
Because there wasn't nothing to do.
Right, there was nothing to do in the game really, and like every quest you led you to was just some bullshit miscellaneous task you didn't care about. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they would just come out and beat the crap out of you. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Yeah. Well, now they actually have like a checks and balances system where unless you shoot back, it doesn't like initiate a full combat basically. And that person, I think there's like penalties and stuff where if you're so much higher than somebody and you attack them, they
like bullying somebody.
Yeah, basically you'll get like shortened to like to be closer to them.
Damn.
Yeah, that being said, though, your abilities still are intact.
Abilities still there, guns are still there, armor's still there.
I mean, I've watched a guy literally jump right over my concrete walls. Yeah. Like, I mean, my concrete walls are literally like 3 times the height of my character, and like
they're like 10 foot tall.
Yeah, you should only be able to jump maybe half of your character's height.
Yeah, he just cleared it.
And this dude just cleared it, just jumped like right on my wall, and I'm like, all right, well, that's interesting.
Well, this is your base now.
Yeah, I mean, he just jumped straight over. He didn't even like bother. He just, whoop, all right, cool. And it doesn't count as like a
invasion,
an invasion or anything. So my turns didn't even hit him. It just is what it is, and that's what I'm getting at. Like, you know, you can build certain things to break the game. Like, I'm pretty sure they didn't expect that this guy was going to probably find a bunch of armor pieces or whatever that made him have a high agility score, probably pop some chems, and then build his character to have a bunch of agility, and then he just fucking clears walls like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And that's
probably not expected to happen.
Yeah, because you would expect to build your character a certain way. And that's what I'm talking about.
So, in that vein, the thing about Fallout, is Fallout a looter shooter?
Is Fallout a looter shooter? Yes.
I think it is, and so I think looter shooters in that genre is like multiplayer online games. We do the same missions.
So Fallout 76, I would argue, is actually a looter shooter, and the reason why I would say that is because you will find
it ticks all the boxes.
So it's weird in the way that it's a looter shooter, and here's what I mean by that: is you can find any enemy that uses a weapon, right? Like you go out and you see an enemy using a baseball bat. If you kill him, you have a chance that he'll drop that baseball bat for you, even though physically you should be able to pick it up every single fucking time.
Yeah, every time somebody has that weapon, you should be able to just pick it up.
Right. That being said, you know, you'll kill these guys and you'll have a chance that you could get that weapon. And it's more common to get that type of weapon, but it's usually like some of it may have a mod or two on it that makes it special, but you can break that weapon down and eventually learn how to make that mod. And then that's how you get mods to make weapons is, you know, oh, I've got this gun. Let me break it down. I don't need it. So let me break it.
So it's on there.
Dismantle it or whatever. And then it'll say, oh, you learned a crafting thing. So now when you go to your base, you can now, if you have a version of it you like, you can build that weapon and add that mod to it.
Okay.
So that's what Fallout 76 does. Now, what I mean by technically being a looter shooter is you can come across what's called legendary enemies. Legendary enemies,
star enemies, right?
Yeah, they have stars next to their name, and it goes up from 1 to 3. Now, just because you kill a level 3 does not mean that you're going to get a 3 item. It just means you have a chance. Because from my understanding, you can't get like a 3 out of a 1-star enemy.
So you can only get 3 out of a 3.
Right. Now,
but they're like hard as balls to kill, though, right?
Most of the time, yeah. Usually they're a higher level than you. They got a lot of abilities. And of course, they have the legendary mutation ability where once you knock them down to like half health, they instantly regenerate all their health. And then you have to kill them again. So every enemy you fight, you have to drop their bar
one and a half times. 1.5 times.
Right.
Trash.
Yeah. But they give you start items. And these start items are random abilities.
Yeah, I remember in Fallout 4 they had start abilities where I think 4 only had maybe 12 pieces of star gear that would, you know, reduce damage by this much, or it would increase a certain percentage. But like I said, there's only like 10 in the game, and I think there's like an infinite amount at this point in Fallout 76 where you get them from killing certain enemies or finding them that again have random perks. You can't really farm a certain one. You just kind of have to get lucky and get one that works with your build at that point. So.
Yeah, and I mean that's honestly what happens is you'll play, you know, Fallout, and you'll fight these enemies and you'll get these random start abilities. They're just completely random. You don't know what you're gonna get. Now that being said, one thing I like about it is they do it in a good way, because like in Destiny, one of the cool things about Destiny is, you know, you'll get a gun. It has a random roll on it, and that gun is what it is. You can't give it to anyone.
Yeah, can't trade.
Yeah, in Destiny 1, apparently there was a trade mechanic.
It was never implemented.
So you can never do it. But Yeah, so basically what it comes down to is whatever role you got is what you got. So this guy could have a god roll weapon that you want and would do anything for, but you'd have to take his whole account to get it.
Yeah, I know in Destiny, like the god rolls right now, or in the raid, you get to do the raid. You only do it once a week. You can't. It lets you do like the first chest, which no, you can't do that. You only do it once a week.
All that stuff you can only do once a week unless you want it. You could do all the raid technically for weapons. You could roll 3 times because you could do your each
different
character
classes. So yeah, like Destiny, you only have 3 chances a week to do it. Where Fallout, you have infinite amount of chances. You can just go out, find this enemy. I'm sure they probably spawn in the same area.
Not necessarily.
Oh, they don't?
No, it's kind of random. So there are some areas that's more likely to spawn them,
Like the upper right area.
Sometimes like that. Sometimes like other areas. The only things that are almost guaranteed is that you'll come across like certain story event character enemies that will have stars on them, but even then you don't know what level it'll be. It could, I could do it. It could be 1 star, and then we come back and do it for you, and it could be 2 stars. It doesn't depend on your level either. At level 1, at like level 15, I walked into this thing called a sheep squatch. No shit. It's a monstrous enemy that you remember Fallout 4, how the Deathclaws fight, how it's completely different than like Fallout 3.
Yeah.
How like they become these real monsters.
They become violent.
Yeah, they like stagger the way you see, your character looks at the ground, all that stuff, right?
They knock you face down.
Sheep squash do the same thing. They like stagger you, stomp on the ground, do all sorts of stuff and make it a harder fight.
It's Bigfoot, right?
No, sheep squash is literally just like a sheep that stands up on like 2 legs and fights.
You just randomly came across this?
Just randomly in the world, walking. Just come across this thing. And it was a 3-star sheep squatch. It had a skull on it. And I was like, oh, I need to leave.
Sheep squatch. I'm looking at, what is that? What the fuck?
I told you, man.
That is this thing?
Yep.
Dude, that is nightmare fuel, man. That is crazy looking.
I also came across the Grafton Monster. Look up the Grafton Monster.
Grafton Monster. So sheep squatch is actually a cryptozoology thing. It's got its own, apparently it's a quote-unquote real thing.
I guess.
One sheep squash may appear at the unmarked location north of monorail elevator outside Vault 96, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that'd be fucked up if it spawned right next to Vault 76, the literal...
Oh, God, I just let cover your eyes. One of my favorite things in Fallout 3 was the adverts where they're showing you how to block the sun from your eyes. What was the other one called? Your eyes out. What was it called?
It was called the Grafton Monster. I don't remember what it's actually called, but I know that there's an enemy called
Grafton Monster. There it is. What? That is scary looking.
It kind of looks like from Left 4 Dead, the tanks. I can't remember what they're called, but
yeah, that's creepy looking, dude. What the fuck?
Yep.
Nightmare fuel, man. That is, dude. I'd be terrified if I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get some water, guys. Be right back. Holy shit, is a mountain moving?
Yeah. I literally just jumped on top of a house and shot at him. What he does is he throws boulders at you, and the house's peak was built like this. It was just like a literal, like, deep triangle. So I just stood on the top right here, shot over, and then when he would throw stuff, I'd hide over the house.
I remember that's how I killed my my first giant in Skyrim. Was I got the bow and arrow. Got
just picked him off.
Blink, blink, blink. I'm like, I get it. Woo!
Yeah. Which is messed up because they're really just the ones that are stopping the mammoths from killing you, because the mammoths are the ones you should really fear. The giants, yeah, they smack you. Oh, fun fact about the giants in Skyrim, by the way. You know how their hammer, right? Mm-hmm. Their hammer is actually a weapon in the game.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's an equipable weapon, but it cannot be equipped in the game because there's no there's no like a
no way your character can hold it.
Yeah, well, there's no way your character can click on it. Like if you hover above it, there's only one that I know of at least.
It's like on an altar.
Yeah, that's just sitting there, and it is obtainable. What you do, however, is you tell your follower to go pick it up. Your follower, if you click on them and tell them what to do, and you tell them to walk over to it and click on it, he will walk up and pick it up. What is that?
It's a monster for Fallout 76 called Flatwood Monster.
I have never seen that before, and I don't want to see that.
That's scary looking.
But yeah, so they can use it. And by the way, it is the strongest two-handed weapon in the game. It is unequipable, though. After that, you cannot take it off.
So if you have your follower, Lydia, pick it up, she can never take it off.
Yeah, but the NASA program is exclusive just to them.
That was a bug, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they patched that out of vanilla.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
That was everyone's first memory of vanilla Skyrim was,
a lot of
that's a giant because you watch the companions kill one before you go to a white run. And you're like, I got this. Don't worry.
Pound and you go straight to the sky,
bro. That blows your mind.
Yeah,
because you don't expect it.
A lot of the reason they patched it out, though, for real, like a lot of people are like, oh, that's really lame that they got rid of it. The reason why they patched it out,
realistically, that shouldn't happen.
Well, no, the reason they patched it out was because in a lot of games, because it would have to render so much, all of a sudden it would cause the game to crash. And if you remember,
I can see that.
And if you can remember back on Xbox 360, it wasn't like the Xbox One where if a game crashes, it's technically a separate entity from the Xbox. It's able to crash and you can just back out of the game and start it over.
Yeah, the Xbox 360 was like the whole thing was on it.
Yeah, if it crashed the whole Xbox. You had to turn it off, which sucked.
I couldn't imagine having like a PC that could barely run that shit and it happening. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Done deal. Your computer just died.
Yeah, but that was my whole thing about Fallout 76 is that Fallout 76 does it really well.
The looter shooter aspect.
Yeah, and that was the thing is they get really in depth in the fact that like I could get that weapon and let's say I don't like it, right? Mm-hmm. If you help me kill a level 3 enemy, like me and Chewy, we would play. We would fight this level 3 enemy or whatever. We'd kill it. And then we would both loot it. So that means we both get chances at a good piece of gear.
But can you share items?
Yes.
So if
I could trade you an item, I could literally open up a trade menu or just drop it on the ground.
So say if you got the item he wanted, he got the item you wanted, you just there you go.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
The more people that fight an enemy, they all get their own loot pool for that enemy. So the only thing that exists in Fallout 76 is again looter shooter kind of thing is there are takeable items in the world. That it is just like background stuff, like this Lysol I have on the table over here. If I grab that,
like Fallout 4, where you're just like, oh, there's a can,
right? If you pick it up, it's gone from the world now. It'll eventually respawn hours later, I'm sure. But like,
imagine somebody sitting there waiting for it.
Let's say me and you are playing on separate Xboxes, and you're at home, I'm at my place, and we both see everything, and we're looking at the same can. Mm-hmm. I take that can, it'll disappear off your screen. But
so on that server, that can in that location's gone for now,
for at least a couple hours or whatever. It will eventually
until somebody leaves and comes back.
Yeah, until it respawns or whatever. But that being said, if I walk up to like a container, like a Foot Locker, I walk up to it and I try and take something out of it, it randomizes whatever's in that for me. So if you go up,
so every searchable container has its own loophole,
right? And then it's different for every person. So if I walk up and I take everything out of that, it's yours. Like, that's my stuff. But if you go up to it and you search the same container I just took everything out of, you'll have stuff in it.
Interesting.
So what me and Chewy do as a rule of thumb is first come, first serve. So like bobbleheads and books that you can read and stuff like that. So like rare items that you don't find very often. Or like Nuka-Cola Quantums or whatever. We will leave those we won't leave those in the world. What we'll do is we'll first come, first serve. You grab it. Mm-hmm. So, like, if I see it first, I walk up, click A on it, it's mine. No hard feelings.
Yeah.
Even if I really wanted it. Now, if you want to give it to me, that's on you. If I offer you money and you want to sell it to me, that's still on you. We can work that out. That being said, we operate on the rule that it's first come, first serve. Doesn't matter the reason. If you bitch about it, doesn't matter. If you don't like the rule, don't play.
That's fair.
So that's just how we mitigate that. So other than that, and that's what I'm saying. Like Fallout 76 does it in a really good way, and I have a lot of hopes for Outlands in particular.
Outriders
or whatever, Outriders. I keep saying Outlands for a game I've never played.
You've seen it on Game Pass, so it's like in the back of your mind, like Outlands. Fuck, that's not it. So did you write down Outlands? No, you're writing down Outriders.
Yeah, I'm just gonna write down Outriders and just stare at it every time I need to.
Underline it a few times.
Outriders. The same thing I do with Cody, where we were talking about his car, right? I say it's a Mustang every time we're talking about it, but it's a Focus. And I'll be like, yeah, man, you really need to get that Mustang cleaned. And he'll be like, my Focus? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, you have a Focus. There was one time he said that to me, and I was like, yeah, your Mustang. I mean, your Focus. Like right after he corrected me.
Focus, yeah, your Mustang. I got
it. Yeah. I mean, your Focus. Damn.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I know there's a demo for Outriders, and I want to see if it's an open world game because I've heard nothing but good things, but I've heard nothing about the game. I avoided spoilers because I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm a fanboy for Square Enix. I just always have been,
and that's what I'm super excited about. Is
like what was that game? Life is Strange. We were going through Xbox randomly one day, and we saw this game licensed by Square Enix. We're like, I'll give it a try. Fuck it.
Yeah, and I bought that specifically on Square Enix's clout alone. I didn't buy it because, that company made it.
You don't know who Don't Nod is.
No,
you don't know.
I didn't care. And, it was one of those things where I love story-based games, but I wasn't interested in looking at that. But it said Square Enix on it, and I was like, done deal. Because Square Enix doesn't make bad games and doesn't endorse bad games that I've saw. I mean, I'm sure there are some.
There's some. I'm sure there's people out there who's like, oh, well, this randomly obscure game from 1992 is shit. Well, yeah. I'm sure.
But I mean, like, if you think about...
Most games back then were shit.
Yeah. But if you think about like this, Outriders, right, is Square Enix is making it, right? So you don't have to worry about...
They're not making it, they're publishing it. They're backing...
which means that they're willing to put their name on the line for something because they want to vouch for the quality of the game.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
What is that company that's making it? Games That Fly?
Yeah, People That Fly.
Okay, yeah, that.
Yeah,
them people.
People can fly. People can fly. That's what it is. Yeah.
There we go. People something fly.
Yeah. Some.
And Square Enix is like, we got you guys.
Yeah, I mean, the company name's kind of dumb in my opinion, but I mean, whatever. I mean,
so is Don't Nod.
I mean, our name is We Do Game Stuff, so I mean, it is what it is.
Hey, we, me and you, 1, 2, we. That's plural.
Yeah.
Do game. We play games. Stuff is a general term.
Yeah, games from anything. It could be board games to video games, but we just choose video games as our medium
because we're not nerds.
Yeah, we're nerd. We're jock nerds basically.
We'll beat you up, take a lunch money, and then go home and play Halo.
Yeah, right. So, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, Outriders is backed by Square Enix, which makes that super impressive to me because immediately right off the bat, I'm willing to give it a shot. And with it being day one with Game Pass, I already have Game Pass. So
it's like $15 a month. Yeah. It's dirt cheap.
All right, Game Pass, in my opinion, is honestly becoming like a staple for your console. I mean, honestly,
this is your big selling point now.
Yeah, I was honestly not one of the guys. Like I
thought it was dumb too.
I thought it was dumb when it came out. I was like, you know what? That's really stupid. I own most of these games already. It's going to be a dumb thing to do. I'm not going to buy it. And over time, they really made me eat those words.
Yeah, I mean, they'll take games out of rotation that aren't being played as much, and they'll put it on sale. Like, okay. A lot of people didn't play this game, but if you like it, here's a sale. You can buy it for cheap.
And even without it being on the way out, you'll see that where they'll put the game on sale for you to buy it cheaper just because you have Game Pass.
Yeah.
So you can get
Xbox Game or Gold is $10, $11, and Game Pass is $15. It's like $4 extra for like 150 games.
Yeah, but the only thing that sucks about that though is that you can't buy it at the same way you could for like a year. Like a year of Xbox was like $60.
Yeah.
And then you're paying like I think 100 or 120 or something like that for
Game Pass.
Yeah, it's like double
that. But I mean, if you do it month by month,
I managed to trick the system somehow or another. Whenever I did it, I paid
$1.
I paid $64 after taxes for the year subscription, right, for just regular Xbox Live, and that was $64, whatever. And then it was like, do you want to try Game Pass for $1? Well, this was when they were first really pushing Game Pass.
Yeah.
So they basically said, if you buy Game Pass right now, we'll convert all of your Xbox Live that you have left into Game Pass.
So yeah, a whole year for $1.
So then they also were selling it for $1. So I was like, done deal. So I bought it for $1, and then I realized after that, because I thought I was just going to upgrade that 1 month. Mm-hmm. It then shot. It like expired. I went to my subscriptions, and it said, "Oh yeah, your Xbox Live is expired.
Next year,
you now have Xbox Ultimate." Until next year. I was like, whoa. So I've had Ultimate for literally $65, $65 after
it's done. I've had Ultimate for, I don't know how long I've had Ultimate, but I mean, that's their big focus now. They want to push Game Pass as like, this is the reason why you want to buy an Xbox, where you don't have to go out and spend $60+ on the game. You can if you want to, or most of our games, AAA titles are going to come out day one on this thing.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about Outriders. Outriders is like day one it comes out on Game Pass, which means I don't have to spend. I spent $1 and have had access to this stuff throughout the years, throughout this entire year, and Outriders is going to be free right off the bat
for $1.
Yeah, for literally $1. So I'm like, done deal. I don't even have to pay that $1 now. I've already paid it. And
months ago.
And I've definitely gotten my $1 out of Game Pass.
I mean, hell, we got the Destiny 2, all the DLCs. We're all on Game Pass.
Yep.
I mean, that was what? Beyond Light, Forsaken. Fuck. What's the other one? What's the third one? Shadowkeep.
Yeah, there you go.
Shadowkeep. I mean, that was 20, 40, 60, probably $100.
Yep.
That just, for you, $64, $5 on there.
Yeah, and I mean, I've used Game Pass left and right for other stuff. But that's what I'm excited about. And then that's the reason why, I downloaded the demo earlier, but I don't know that I want to play it tonight.
Well, it especially comes out. It should come out in like an hour.
Yeah, like
I don't know if it may not. It may go off like British Standard Time.
Look it up. We got the computer. It'll probably say what time.
What time is?
Like if it comes out like 3 a.m. Eastern or something, I might wait for a couple hours. I mean, I'll be up till 3 in the morning. Anyway.
Yeah, not me. I'm an old man. I'm 25 old.
Man, if you're 25 old, I guess I'm 25 young because I can stay up till 3.
Look, man, I got up the other day and my fiance heard my shirt pop. I got up too fast. She goes, "You're old." I'm like, "No, I'm just not limber anymore.
Yeah,
I'm stiff."
I did the same thing when I got out of my bed. I got out of my bed yesterday and I was like, pop, 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 pop. I'm like, oh, the not 16 pops. I'm really hoping that it does come out tonight because if it does, I'd like to try it.
Yeah, I'll go home and download it on both my Xboxes.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty good for real. I'm surprised they didn't say something about it going on Game Pass though.
Midnight.
That's Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, that's where
ours.
Yeah, it's our time zone.
Hey.
Yeah, congratulations. You now know that we live in Eastern Standard Time. Figure out how to track us down.
We live in New York City.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think New York City has the same time zone, does it?
It is.
It is?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the eastern side, so yeah, I just sound stupid now.
Yeah. We're on New York time.
I don't know things geographically. Screw it.
Geography is hard.
Yeah. I know about here.
I am in this country where...
Yeah,
this country.
Don't ever ask me for directions because people will be like, "Hey, yeah, come to this street." Like people do that to me all the time. They'll be like, "Hey, yeah." I'm like, "Where is it?" "Oh, it's over here on this street." I'm like, "What the fuck is that?"
Okay, give me a landmark. Oh, it's by the Walmart.
And yeah,
which one?
They'll give me some obscure landmark too, like, "Oh, it's by this McDonald's." Well, there's like 30 of them between me and you.
It's by the McDonald's with the 3 flagpoles, but one fell down, so there's only 2 flagpoles, but there's space for 3. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Like, just give me directions. Like, for my house is in the...
Give me the address so I can Google the damn thing.
Then you'll be like my sister, who will be like... She'll be like, all right, you gotta make a left out of your place. All right, left. Right, left, left, right. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, get out of here.
In games and in real life, he is directionally challenged.
I have no sense of direction.
We'll be like following... Like, if we're playing Fallout 76 and we just didn't have the map, and he's like, we're going to go north. He didn't have the meter thing. He'd be like, "Oh, we're going south now."
Dude, I have no sense of direction. I've never had.
The sun could be setting in the east. He's like, "Okay, sun sets east. Okay, so this is north." Dude, he's still going the wrong way.
Not even kidding. Until I was like 15 years old, I thought east was that way.
Was west?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Because I was always taught that. And you know, this is where it came from. Was we're the West Country. You know, and that's the East.
Asia?
Yeah, Eastern countries are this way. So that's the way my brain always put it together. And I was like, And then someone corrected me one day and I was like, no.
You lying.
Yeah, it's the same thing with my girlfriend. She did the same thing with like next Friday. She was like, yeah, next Friday doesn't actually mean this upcoming Friday that's going to come. Like if I like let's say Friday.
Yeah, if I'm saying next Friday on Thursday, that means the Friday after. But I'm saying like, no. Yeah,
yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, it doesn't mean exactly what you think it means, does it? And people were like, and I said that to her one day, and then that day came up, and she was completely caught off guard. And I'm like, "What do you mean? I told you about this." And she's like, "Yeah, you said next week." And I was like, "Yeah, this is the next week. This is the next Friday.
Yeah, it's just the way you.
This is the next up Friday. That's the way That's the way it makes sense to me, but apparently not.
Yeah, like if you told me like on like this week, like this next Friday. We're gonna okay, cool. That's Friday. I got it.
Yeah, like I don't.
If you said the next Friday, if you said the next Friday, the way you say it, I'll be like, I got you.
Yeah, when I say next Friday, I mean like next Friday is in like
the Friday coming up.
Yeah, like okay, right now it's Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. I'll be like, oh, it's Wednesday. Okay, next Friday, you want to come over? You're like, yeah, okay. I don't mean not this Friday, but the next Friday. I mean. Next Friday, the next one up, like
the next Friday that will come in sequential order,
right? And I'm like, whatever. But
see, I do the same thing. I'll say this is the We Do Games Up bullshit corner. So
yeah.
We've diverged from leadership, and now we're talking about how we say things here in the place we live.
Yeah.
So like, it's the way you say things. So like me, like I say things really weird. Like, so on your cabinets, right? So you have the 2 sets of cabinets, right?
Yep.
Or maybe 3. So my house, I have 3 sets of cabinets. 2 doors, right? He's like, and we had a friend who's like, where are your cups at? I said, it's in the left cabinet on the right. It's like the left cabinet on the far right is what I said. And he goes to the left cabinet into the right.
No,
I was like, you fucking idiot. What are you doing?
I definitely know what you mean.
You go to the left cabinet on the far right. So it's the one on your left.
Yeah, so mine would be right next to where that sign that says veggies on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd be like, so he went to the like, And then him, his girlfriend at the time, and my fiance or my girlfriend at the time were yelling at me like, "I'm a fucking idiot. You don't know what the fuck to say." I'm like,
No.
No.
See, you were the smart one. The rest of them were just trying to convince themselves that they weren't stupid.
Yeah, and he's like, "No, this is the right cabinet. You're going to the left." I'm like, "No, you stupid."
Bro, where was I during this conversation?
Not in my house at the time.
I would have made everybody in that room feel dumb.
And I explained to him, like, the left... Smack my left hand. The left... I smacked my left hand because this isn't audio. So I smacked my left hand and the left cabinet on the far right. It said, go to the... You know X and Y axis on your fucking graph? Look, X, Y. So you go to the right first and you go up.
Listen, man. I don't want to prove my math teacher right that I'm going to use math outside of school. So don't you dare start throwing X's and Y's at me.
It's the first analogy I can think of.
But, okay, so...
That concludes We Do Game Stuff's Bullshit Corner.
Yeah, I have no idea where we were in this.
Come on, Outriders.
Yeah, so in short, Outriders, in my opinion, is going to be really good because Square Enix is backing it. You've got, I actually watched the preview thing that they had for it, and it was interesting to see like the different type of tank rolls. They had the grid on there. They had the way you could actually customize your character. Your rolling base was customizable with trophies you can get, which that implied that there was going to be like bosses. Big
trophy is cool. Like imagine like Destiny, if you can have fucking Crota's skull hanging on your ship.
Yeah, and that was the thing is I didn't like about Destiny was like you can customize the fact that you have a different type of ship, but that ship is the same regardless for who rolls it. Yeah. But that being said, this one looked like you could actually change out like the hood. You could change out the door. You could make your stuff completely unique and have your own trophy, stuff like that. That
doesn't count the customization they showed on the armor and the weapons.
Right, and that was what I was saying. You can mod your weapons in this too. Like the other game, yes, you could mod in Destiny a little bit, but it was like, oh, you have like this preset stuff that you could swap between.
Counterbalance mod or boss spec.
But like in Fallout 76, you could do the same thing. You could just mod the crap out of your weapon with a bunch of different stuff and make it unique.
Yeah.
Well, not unique, but...
close enough.
Yeah, something that you could play with and really like. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's what I'm excited about. So far, Outriders has specific, like, well-balanced classes that it looks like.
Yeah.
The gameplay looks like it's really solid. Like, it doesn't look like it'll be hard to play.
It looks like a good third-person shooter, which I like third-person shooters.
I'm very fickle about it, but I really did like Gears of War, so I can deal with it.
I mean, the people who made Gears of War, so,
I would
Mass
rather
Effect's got good shooting in the third game.
I would rather be first person in any sort of MMO type game I'll play like that. That being said, I will work with it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a negative for me.
I guess we'll whenever we do this again, we'll talk about Outriders. It comes out in like an hour in our time. So
yeah, we'll just do a whole podcast on Outriders.
And we're gonna be riding that Outrider hype train.
Yeah. So I guess the real question is looter shooters, are they good?
If they're done well, absolutely.
Well, you can say that about any game, but like in your opinion, looter shooters, are they good? And if so, what specific ones are good and what makes them good? Like, I specifically really like Destiny. I really like Fallout 76. I'm hoping to like Outriders. That being said, if I said what is good about them, I think honestly it's about the camaraderie of it. I said that wrong. I said that word completely wrong.
Camaraderie.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. We're dumb.
Yeah, but it's the fact that like as an adult who goes to work every day,
mm-hmm.
I go to work. I
hate your job for 10 hours.
I don't know if I hate my job, but I definitely would rather not be there.
I'd rather be home playing video games.
I'd rather be at home playing video games, spending time with my girlfriend, hanging out with family, friends, whatever. I would rather be doing anything else, but I have to be there because I got to make money.
Boo.
Right. And, it is what it is. And that's what I'm saying is, are they good? I think the reason why a lot of these games are good is because they're distractions from that. They're distractions from the fact you don't have to go back to work. You get to go home, hang out with your friends, especially right now during COVID where you can't hang out with your friends. You can't go
to the bar with your friends. I mean, you can, but you can't.
I never really was part of the bar scene anyway.
Yeah, well, you can't go to, all of our friends, we would go to the mall, like a big group of us. We can't do that anymore.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's just stuff that you can't do anymore and hanging out with friends. And I think even before that, even before COVID happened, you still had friends and stuff like that you could play with online that would help you forget that stuff. You get to just come home, you see they're online, you hang out with them, and, it's kind of like in high school a little bit, where you would just show up and you would see who's there and you would go hang out with that person.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with Xbox and PlayStation. You'll just get on, see your friends are online, and be like, "Dope, what we playing?" And
Yeah,
you jump on.
what are we talking about?
Yeah, and you get in and you get to have that time. You get to have that bro time or girl talk or just in general game time with people or any.
We get to forget all the bullshit of the day. So I think that's what loot shooters do. They want you to play a lot, and I think that's by design.
It's mindless for real. Like
it's mindless shit. I mean, there's some thinking, obviously, you could move your thumbs, but I think by design they want you to spend a lot of time, and they want you to play with other people because it's a community thing. So they want you to. It's escapism. I mean, people like me who have anxiety and other issues, I need that stuff. I need to be able to take a step back, forget about my day, and just focus on what I'm doing on this TV, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly, even with me who doesn't have anxiety, depression, any of these mental issues that people have, I want that stuff. Even I would like to take a step back and be able to just play games, forget about my day, and that'd be my whole thing. And like I said, a lot of this stuff is mindless, which means you don't have to be super smart to play this stuff. You don't have to waste a lot of energy thinking about a lot of this stuff. Because a lot of people think, oh, you're wasting a lot of energy playing games. It's like, in some cases, some games are stressful. Some games are
like Dark Souls. Yeah, that's a stressful game.
And then there's puzzle games that require you to think and may tire some people out. Everybody's different. My thing is I just like the idea it's mindless. I come home, I fight some stuff, hang out with some buddies.
The most you think about it is most you think about is probably the next insult you're gonna give to your buddy.
Yeah.
And what gear do I want on right now?
Right. And I get like slight rewarding feelings and stuff when I find like a piece of gear that's really good. And that's really all it takes. Sometimes, you go to work.
It's the little things.
Yeah, you come home and, your life may suck depending on who you are and how your life is set up. You might be, I'm not necessarily meaning you're like stuck in a trapped marriage or,
You could just had a really bad day at work.
Yeah.
Boss shitting on you all day long. You just, rough day, you come home and you put the headset on and you're talking shit with your buddies. And That's all it takes.
Right. And I think that's the reason why a lot of looter shooters are good, in my opinion, because it's a mindless gameplay. You get to hang out with your buddies and you get to do stuff and make a story and enjoy yourself. And you could do that with any game, technically, but a solo RPG is just a solitary thing. You play that by yourself.
Yeah.
A multiplayer game like Call of Duty is just you playing mindless games, sure, but at least
you're not playing with other people.
And you also have like a task you're trying to do. You're like in a looter shooter like this, you have an objective that you're trying to meet. That's so broad, but it's still an
There's
objective.
so many things to do. Like, okay, here's my weekly set of shit I need to do. I have all week to do it. And then you hop on with your friends like, hey, let's go do the Nightfall. And that takes, 45 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It's 45 minutes of you not thinking about
work,
how much of a dick your boss was that day, or how bad work was. You're just thinking about, okay.
Or, I
got killed.
Like money issues.
I got killed 10 dicks.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it comes down to is you don't worry about money issues. You don't worry about, a failing marriage or whatever, if that's what it is. You don't worry about
any relationship issues, none of that. You don't worry about none of that because you are focused on something that you enjoy doing. And I think
that being said, though, if you have like what I said, like failing marriage or something like that, you probably shouldn't be playing video games and probably focus on that.
Whatever. We're not psychologists. We're just two dudes.
I mean, I'll be your therapist. That's fine.
Yeah. You're my therapist at the time.
Oh my god.
So
I am not the guy. I am a very jaded individual.
Suck it up, man. What the fuck's your problem?
Yeah, I'm a very jaded individual. Not necessarily like that, but they're like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "I don't know." You don't smack yourself with the left hand.
You're one of those people who like pat from a distance, like they're there.
So I really have no therapy skills. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, you're just a wall, basically. You're a body you can talk to.
I mean, I'm more of a wall that, like, if you run into it and you bounce off me, I'm like, what'd you think was going to happen? You smacked into me, dummy. I mean, that's kind of my thought process on stuff. Is that I just believe in logical stuff. But yeah,
that's some people need that. Some people need someone to talk to. Meet him. We both work in the same place. And there are some days where I have a bad day. There are some days he has a bad day. And there's most of the days I just want to go home and play video games. And just forget about it.
Yeah. And you're just done with it.
Because, I mean, our job is very fast-paced and mentally challenging sometimes.
Yeah.
Where you just kind of drink. I don't want to think about nothing. I'm just, like me, I'm playing Persona 5, which I've already beaten twice. So it's a mindless third playthrough for me. So I'm not really paying attention to it. So it doesn't really help. But, we'll play Destiny with Chewy, and Fatman and my fiance plays with us, and we have another friend in Australia we play with. So, I mean, it's just mindless, stupid shit we do. We just joke, laugh, have a good time.
Yep.
And I think more people need that now more than ever.
I think you're right. And I mean, I think that's a pretty broad reason on why those games are good. I mean,
are they for everybody though? No,
not at all. I mean, that's the same thing with everything. Like, I'm not a big fan of like platformers, but there are some people that really love platformers. I'm just not one of them.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean I've never enjoyed a platformer? No, of course not. I've played, like Super Mario back in the day. There's in Persona 5 Strikers, it switches to a pseudo platformer for a short period of time during certain areas, which I think is cool. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, I've played other platforming games that are interesting. I'm just not interested in them as a genre.
Yeah.
There's diamonds in the rough and everything. I don't really like racing games, but,
whatever.
Yeah. It's the same thing with, like, I like racing in GTA, but I won't buy for, like, Forza.
Right. So, where it's the only thing you do.
Right. Now, as far as looter shooters are concerned, are they good? Yes, I think so. I think as a medium, yes. I think you just have to find the right one. It depends what you're interested in. If you're interested in sci-fi, a decent shooting mechanic that's closer to Call of Duty, congratulations, you got Destiny.
Yep.
If you're interested in something that's a little bit more artistic, but more on like the Raider, gritty,
cartoony-ish,
kind of
cell shading,
stuff like that. Congratulations, you got Borderlands, especially if you like, like crude humor and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you're a child like we are.
Right. Payday 2, if you want to get into the more criminal side of yourself where you get out there and you like shoot people, you can literally just kill a bunch of civilians and just rob banks. That's
a thing you can do.
Yeah. Now, is that a little bit sadistic? Sure. Now,
some people need it?
Yeah,
yes.
People play GTA and do it all the time, is what it is. So that's what I'm talking about. Payday 2 is that if you want to get super sci-fi, want a quick, fast-paced, like awesome game where you're just shooting all over the screen, that's Warframe. 100%. I didn't really play Anthem, so I'm not even going to talk about it.
Anthem? Well, if you wanted to be Iron Man, but a really shitty version of it, play Anthem.
There you go. So Anthem's not good. So
it's the reason why they got dropped.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. They are getting canceled, aren't they?
They got dropped.
Yeah. And then you've got games where if you want to be like a more militaristic type of dude, where you want to be like a modern day, like, I don't know, like Spetsnaz or, Navy SEAL or whatever, basically. The Division comes to mind.
Yeah, if you're like real big into military tactics and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got like Fallout 76 for post-apocalyptic, like monsters, scavenging, stuff like that. And then, that's what I'm talking about.
If you're real sadistic, you play Remnant from the Ashes solo.
Yeah.
And, hate your life because it's like playing
if you're
Dark
a psychopath, play Ark. Don't look at me like that.
Hate that game.
Ark is awful.
Don't cancel us.
There is no one that will convince me otherwise.
Vin Diesel likes it, but fuck him, he's bald.
Look, man, I don't know if that would be my go-to attempt here.
Not for me, no.
But especially not me. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. I start cracking bald jokes. Next thing you know, I'm losing my hair.
The Rock's bald. He's cool.
Yeah. Have you seen him with hair?
Yeah, back in the 90s.
Yeah, that was bizarre. I saw that for the
first
time.
He had a hot top.
I was like, whoa. That's the biggest.
He said, whoa.
Yeah. That was the biggest guy I've ever seen with a fanny pack and a hot top.
Oh, I know what picture you're talking about. You know that picture, he's got a tissue underneath his elbow so he doesn't touch like the dirty concrete?
Didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, it's a funny picture.
Oh my God.
Now that you know that, you'll see it, you'll laugh every time.
Oh my God. Why did he do it?
I don't know.
Yeah. He's like, yeah.
Dirty. I think he was wearing like a really like fancy designer sweatshirt and he just didn't want to get dirty. So he's like, I'll put a tissue there.
Oh my God. Man, could you imagine?
Before Photoshop, that did.
I don't ever want to wear clothes that are so expensive that I'll be afraid to touch things. Like, oh my God. But I think that's probably about it. We'll probably need to wrap this up before we turn around and make this into like a 3-hour conversation about how, looter shooters are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. All in all, I think if you guys really want to play any sort of looter shooters, you need to get out there and really decide what you're interested in. If we literally a few minutes ago just talked about different things that make looter shooters good. And we just talked about like what looter shooters fit your type of criteria. I think, it is what it is. It's a great way to make friends if you don't really have friends to deal with online, or if you, have friends that are interested in gaming, but they want to play with you and you don't want to play like generic Call of Duty. These are games you can go for.
Yeah. We've met a lot of friends on Xbox who we don't know what they look like.
No.
We don't know where they're from.
No.
We kind of tell from their accent they're foreign, from like Wales or Australia.
Well, they're foreign to us, yeah, and we're foreign to them.
Yeah, so we sound like country bumpkins to them.
Yeah, sure.
We talk like this.
I don't think I've ever talked like that in my life, but
I haven't either, but when I talk to people from like foreign people who aren't from America, that's how I think they hear me, because I talk weird. I don't talk good.
But yeah, guys, I don't know. Let us know if you actually did end up liking this podcast, if it actually helped you out, if you were on the fence about playing any of these. What we'll probably do is we'll probably sit down and play Outriders come sometime soon, and that'll may not be the next podcast we do, but it definitely will be one we should make a podcast on. It's like a follow-up to this. It's like a part 2.
Yeah. I mean, if you just listen to this in the background, I mean, tell us what you think about it somewhere on the internet.
Yeah. I don't care where. You can come to my house, knock on my door, and spit on me if you don't like it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm good.
No, you're good.
No, you can do that to Austin.
Yeah,
don't
no. Wait, hold on. Let's just, I mean, how bad are we talking? Like, is they hawking loogies?
Hawking loogies right in your mouth.
Oh my God. I'll be honest. If anyone knocks on my door and spits on me, I'm going to fight them. So if they hawk a loogie and it happens to go into my mouth, I'm fighting everybody on the street. Civilians
kick your neighbor's door down, fighting them.
Yeah, everyone around me is getting fought, and I'll die because I'll get shot at some point, I'm sure. Or I'll meet my match, and this dude will just beat the shit out of me.
And he'll spit on you again. You're like, I deserve that one. You're right.
Oh my God, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. Hopefully our podcast wasn't that bad where you want to spit on somebody, because that's not okay. Especially nowadays.
Yeah, with COVID. But, all right, guys. Thanks for listening to We Do Game Stuff in our very first podcast, and we hope to see you in our next podcast or video.
Woo.